Dozens of Thai Navy sailors missing after their vessel sinks in a storm off the Gulf of Thailand. Royal Thai Navy says it has dispatched helicopters, planes, and ships to rescue the sailors. More details on this later in the news. Good evening. I'm CJ Hero.
And I am Nina Richie Alago Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International. Now for the headlines.
Fuel price hike takes effect on Tuesday. Health experts optimistic for end of COVID in 2023. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. vows to support AFP modernization. Oil tanker blast in Afghanistan claims 19 lives. And Net25's Responde and Alex Santos receive Pagani Awards.
Companies will impose price increases effective midnight. Based on advisories of Chevron Philippines or Caltex, effective 12/1 tonight, 20 pesos and 90 centavos or 2 pesos and 90 centavos per liter will be added on diesel prices, 70 centavos per liter on gasoline, and 1 peso and 65 centavos per liter on kerosene. The same price adjustments from other oil players will take effect on Tuesday, December the 20th at 6 o'clock in the morning. These include Pilipinas Shell and independent oil players Sea Oil, PTT Philippines, and Petrogas, while Clean Fuel will impose adjustments by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The price increase ends the streak of oil price rollbacks in the last 4 weeks. The adjustment is due to limited fuel inventory in the world market, following high demand from Northern Hemisphere countries facing winter.
The World Health Organization is set to meet in January 2023 to assess the current pandemic situation. This will be the basis to determine if the Philippines Public Health Emergency Declaration will continue. Madeline Villar Moratillo reports.
The World Health Organization, or WHO, is hopeful that COVID-19 will not be a public health emergency in 2023. In the past week, the WHO said COVID-19 deaths are less than 10,000 worldwide. Although 10,000 is still too many, the WHO said the number is far from before. In January next year, the WHO's Emergency Committee is expected to meet and assess the COVID-19 situation, its variants like Omicron, and other effects. Although there are still waves of infections in other countries, it is not comparable to before. In the Philippines, the Department of Health is hopeful that the COVID-19 pandemic will end by 2023. But DOH officer in charge, Maria Rosario Berjere, reminded the public to be careful and not to be complacent, especially there is an uptick of infections in some areas. The DOH said Omicron remains the dominant variant of COVID-19 in the country. But compared to the situation in January, where the country experienced a surge reaching 30,000 cases daily from Omicron, the current average cases now vary from about 1,000 daily. Berjere said vaccination plays a big role in the current situation. DOH data shows the country's healthcare utilization rate remains below 30%. In the vaccination program, 73 million individuals are fully vaccinated, while more than 21 million received their booster shots. The Public Health Emergency Declaration in the country will expire on December 31, 2022. The DOH is not recommending the extension of the declaration but insists that a law should be passed as basis for the government's COVID-19 response. Berjere said the DOH would recommend to President Marcos an extension if the law fails to pass. Madeline Villar Moratillo for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
The 7-day COVID-19 positivity rate slows down in many parts of the country, including Metro Manila. As of December 14, Octa Research Fellow Dr. Guido David says the positivity rate in the National Capital Region has decreased to 13.9% from 14.9% on December 10. David says in a tweet, it looks like the BQ1 wave is receding in time for a happy holiday. Outside Metro Manila, Octa Research said copies, Davao del Norte, Iloilo, and South Cotabato also posted low positivity rates. Meanwhile, provinces with high positivity rates include Aklan, Palawan, and Zamboanga del Sur. David says the increase in positivity rates were also observed in Bataan, Laguna, Zambales, and Misamis Occidental. Last week, Health Officer in charge Maria Rosario Vergeire allayed fears of a slight uptick in virus infections, as long as hospital utilization in the country remains manageable.
Lawmakers caution the government of its plan to buy the bivalent vaccine against COVID-19 early next year. Meanwhile, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has set January 23 to continue its investigation on vaccine wastage. Man Corvetta reports.
The government should study first before pushing its plan to procure bivalent vaccine against COVID-19 in the first quarter of 2023. Senate Committee on Health Chairman Senator Christopher Bongo said the Department of Health must ensure the effectiveness of the vaccine and if the public needs it. The lawmakers said the country has enough stocks of vaccine, but the majority of the public are refusing to be inoculated. He cited the 44 million doses of vaccine that have gone to waste. Go is asking the DOH to submit an inventory report of the remaining vaccines and the number of the population that needs to be inoculated with the bivalent vaccine. The lawmakers said it would be a waste of money if the purchase was made, but the new vaccine would not be useful.
Hindi pa nga nauubos yung mga bakunang nandiyan dyan, na-expire nga yung iba. So, I'm sure mas alam po ito ng ating mga health officials kung anong dapat gawin sa ngayon, kung nararapat na bang bumili, kung kakailanganin na ba, at makukumbinsi ba natin ang mga kababayan natin na magpaturok dito. Dapat po walang masayang.
Meanwhile, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee assured the continuation of its investigation on wasted vaccine. Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Francis Tolentino said they would scrutinize the contracts entered into by the government and find out why 44 million doses of vaccines have gone to waste. Tolentino said these need to be investigated since the government is planning to purchase 5 million doses of vaccines. He said the Senate would look into this amid the special audit of the Commission on Audit on the government's vaccine procurement. The committee set January 23 as the continuation of its probe on the matter, but they would call for an executive session first. At the executive session, the senators expect the DOH to detail the contracts entered into by the government, including the confidentiality agreements with the vaccine manufacturers.
Ang purpose naman natin dito is to make everything transparent, malaman ng taong bayan kung bakit natapon, nasayang, nag-expire yung 44 million doses. May dahilan. Ang nabanggit na dahilan ay ito yung mga naunang binili. At saka medyo bumaba daw ngayon yung mga nagpapabakuna. Lalo yung booster. Kaya sinasabi ko, bakit hindi magkaroon ng second booster?
Man Corvetta for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
The Marcos administration vows to prioritize peace and security. It pledges support for the modernization of the armed forces of the Philippines and the welfare of its personnel. Eren Santos has the details.
We shall have the arrival honors.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. led today the commemoration of the 87th founding anniversary of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, in its main camp in Quezon City. During his speech, the president reminded soldiers of his marching order to commit to the cause of peace. The president urges the military to continue working with the country's neighbors and allies to address a complex security environment where security challenges do not recognize borders.
New security challenges do not recognize borders, and we must continue to work with our neighbors, our allies, partners, and friends to address mutual security concerns.
The president said his administration's priority is peace and security. He also assured the armed personnel of his support for the modernization program of the AFP and its personnel for them to comply and fulfill their duties.
The security and stability of the country remains the priority. I call on you to continue performing your duties as you have had for many, many years, and competently so that our country can achieve peace and security and sustain economic prosperity. Rest assured to all the AFP and all the uniformed services that this administration remains committed to the modernization of the AFP. We will be partners. We will be partners towards your vision of a strong, credible, world-class armed force that is a source of national pride and a source of national security.
Marcos also lauded the military in fighting against communist insurgents and providing assistance during calamities. He thanked the soldiers for staking their lives for the benefit of the country.
As your Commander-in-Chief, I join the entire nation in expressing our profound and sincere gratitude to your unwavering loyalty and service to the country, to the Constitution, and to our people. Isang maligaya at makabuluhang anibersaryo sa ating lahat. Sumasa inyo ang aking pinakamataas na pagpupugay. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay po ang AFP.
During the ceremony, the president was given arrival honors and had a chance to troop the line. AFP Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Bartolome Vicente Bacaro reported to the president the accomplishments of the AFP since the new administration assumed office.
Amidst the change and transformation, what has remained constant is the AFP's singular drive and determination to protect our people and secure our state. Therefore, the theme of our 87th anniversary celebration, Kaisa ng buong sambayanan tungo sa mapayapa, matatag at maunlad na Pilipinas, perfectly captures how we straddle multiple goals in order to be a force for good in our country. Peace, resilience, and progress are goals and aspirations that we in the armed forces strive to contribute and to achieve. This is apparent in the key milestones and victories that we have reached this year, particularly in decreasing the capability of the communist terrorist groups and in the AFP game-changer assets acquired through our modernization program.
Eden Santos for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Local government units, or LGUs, are urged to strengthen their campaigns for the SIM card registration, set to start on December 27. This would enable mobile subscribers residing in remote areas to register and avoid deactivation of their SIM cards. Interior and Local Government Secretary Benher Abalos says LGUs are responsible for the information disseminated in their locality. Republic Act 11934, or the SIM Card Registration Act, is seen as a deterrent against illegal schemes such as text scams, phishing, and other fraudulent activities using text messaging. The DILG also believes the new law will help the government against cybercrime. Abalos added that LGUs should establish registration centers in public places such as the City Hall to reach concerned citizens, especially in remote areas with weak signals. The DOST Pagasa launched today its impact-based forecasting, or IBF visualization tool. The project is part of strengthening the country's warning advisories and messaging service. The goal is a more accurate and effective multi-hydrometeorological hazards warning system. Pagasa Administrator Dr. Vicente Malano said the IBF would use science innovation or weather and climate science for service partnership throughout Southeast Asia. These partnerships are focused on 3 areas of research: global scale and science or global scale science and modeling, regional scale science and modeling, and understanding the use of impact-based forecasting approaches in the Philippines.
Ang bagyong si Yolanda or Haiyan in 2013 ay isa sa pinakamagandang forecast na ginawa ang Pag-asa in terms of tracking. Alam natin noon na malayo pa lang siya ay kahit nasa labas pa ng Pilipinas, nagbigay na tayo ng warning. At kung titingnan natin yung forecast versus yung actual na pangyayari ay talagang hindi siya lumalayo doon sa track talaga. At nakita naman natin kung gaano ka bigat yung pinsala na nangyari nung Yolanda. Kaya itong ating ginagawang impact-based forecasting para hindi tayo hihinto doon kung ano yung forecast in terms of hangin, in terms of ulan, kundi anong mangyayari kung may ganito karaming ulan, kung may ganito kalakas na hangin.
Malano said the weather forecasting in the Philippines would help minimize the effects of calamities, especially from typhoons affecting the country. According to Pag-asa, there are 20 average typhoons affecting the country each year, some devastating lives and livelihoods.
Senator Robin Padilla graces today's maiden broadcast of Kasangamo ang Langit on Radio Agila 1062. Veteran broadcaster Ray Langit hosts the show where he discussed with Senator Padilla issues concerning the Taduray indigenous group. Let's hear more from Paulo Ramos.
Radio Agila's newest public affairs program, Kasangamo ang Langit, started airing today with veteran broadcaster Ray Langit. For the first episode, Senator Robin Padilla joined Langit where they discussed various issues of society. One of the topics focused on the current situation of the indigenous group Taduray. Last October, more than 20 members of Taduray died due to the devastation of Typhoon Paeng. One barangay at the foot of Mount Mirandar was washed out by the landslides brought by the typhoon. They are appealing to the government for help to provide homes that are far from harm's way.
At saka ang gusto lang nila talaga yun, sir, yung may matitirikan talaga ng bahay, yung lupa talaga at saka pabahay. Lalo-lalo na yung pamumuhay nila, sir, na gusto talaga nila na humingi ng tulong sa national government. Kasi hindi man makaya ng local government lang natin dito. Kasi alam din naman natin yung pondo na hindi naman gaano kalaki. Unang-una na talaga, sir, yung bahay, lupa, pati yung nawala na pangkapital ng mga tao dito, sir.
Senator Padilla is pushing for the review of Republic Act 8371 or the Indigenous Peoples' Right Act of 1997 or the law that recognizes, defends, and upholds the rights of indigenous cultural communities.
Napakalaking rehabilitasyon. Pag sinabi pong rehabilitation, doon po sa patungkol dyan sa kalagayan ng ating mga katutubo. Meron nga tayong IPRA law na sinasabi na Indigenous Peoples Act. Yan po yung patungkol sa kanilang karapatan, sa kanilang mga lupa, sa kanilang lahat po ng karapatan. Alam niyo po, mga mahal kong kababayan, kung meron po tayo dapat na unang-unang inaalagaan sa bayang ito, yung pong mga katutubo natin. Dahil paano po natin may pagmamalaki na meron tayong kalayaan na taon-taon atin pong isineselebrate kung yung mga totoong may-ari nitong Pilipinas, yung pong mga katutubo na yan, walang kalayaan. Anong klaseng kalayaan ang meron tayo? Kaya dapat po, sana mabigyan po ng ukol na atensyon itong mga nangyayari sa ating mga katutubo. Diyan po, una, sa Kongreso, sa mataas at mababang kapulungan. Sana po, bisitahin muli ang IPRA law, yung pong batas na nagbibigay proteksyon sa ating mga katutubo.
More current issues will be discussed on Kasangamo ang Langit from Monday to Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. on Radyo Agila 1062. Paulo Ramos for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Coming up, oil tanker fire in Afghanistan claims 19 lives. 31 Thai sailors missing after vessel sinks. And British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak orders audit of Ukraine aid. Mata ng Agila International will be right back after the short break. Don't go away.
Sa Counterpoint.
It's a tough world. One day you're the star, next day you're not.
Attorney Sal Panelo at multi-talented actor Eric Quizon sa Counterpoint tuwing Miyerkules alas 10:30 ng gabi dito sa Net 25.
Tinitingnan kita ngayon, chinito ang tawag sa mga ganyan, maputi na singkit. Ay yung maitim na singkit, anong tawag doon?
May segue ka sa joke, attorney.
Ano ba kung ano tawag doon?
Ano, attorney?
Prinito.
Good food, good times, good news. Balik kusina na naman ang inyong paboritong cooking show.
Katakam-takam na recipes, masarap na kwentuhan, at walang sawang tawanan. Kasama ng ating espesyal na celebrity guests, natyak na magdadala ng kasiyahan, kasama ang aking pinsan na si Sandy Daza.
Kain na! Dito lamang sa Lutong Daza sa Net 25.
This portion is brought to you by 318 Automart, Arlex Trading and Construction Supplies.
The news continues here on Mata ng Agila International. At least 19 people are killed when an oil tanker overturned and caught fire in a mountain pass tunnel in Afghanistan. Another 32 people are injured and taken to the hospital. The wreck leaves travelers on both sides of the pass stranded. Rescue teams and helicopters have been sent to the scene. A senior health official says the victims include women and children badly burned. According to local media, it took crews nearly 14 hours to extinguish the flames. The accident happened late Saturday in the high-altitude Salang Pass. The Salang Pass is one of the highest mountain highways in the world. It stands at more than 3,600 meters above sea level.
At least 31 Thai Navy sailors are missing after their vessel sank off the southeastern coast of Thailand, a naval spokesperson said. The HTMS Sukhothai was making rounds off the Gulf of Thailand, about 20 nautical miles from Bang Sapan Pier in southern Prachuap, Jirikan, when it met strong tides and sank late Sunday night. Pictures shared by the Navy show the ship's breathtaking heeling position. As per the Navy's report, the ship lost control due to a sudden stop of the ship's operating system. A recently released statement says 75 out of 106 personnel on board were rescued from the waters by 2 Seahawk helicopters, 2 frigates, and 1 amphibious ship. As of now, at least 11 naval personnel are being treated at Bang Sapan Hospital, while some 40 others are being housed at shelters. Authorities confirmed an ongoing search and rescue operation to find the missing sailors.
Drones attacked Kyiv early Monday, days after the Ukrainian capital withstood one of the biggest missile attacks since the start of Russia's invasion. The latest strikes come as Russian President Vladimir Putin travels to Belarus, Ukraine's neighbor in the north. Moscow's troops are stationed there as part of a regional force to hold military exercises. The Kyiv City Military Administration said on social media during the air alert, 23 enemy UAVs were recorded in the sky above the capital. Kyiv's air defense destroyed 18 drones. It added that Russian forces were using ammunition from Shaheds, Iranian-made weapons that have pummeled the capital in recent weeks. Kyiv's civil administration announced an initial air alert at 1:56 a.m. local time, which lasted for just over 3 hours. A second siren at 5:24 a.m. was called off within a half hour. Kyiv's mayor confirmed that explosions had occurred in the capital's central Shevchenkivsky and the Solomyansky district in the west. He said critical infrastructure facilities were damaged, but there were no known casualties.
Alexei Arestovich, a senior aide to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, admits key forces attempted to kill Russia's chief of general staff, Valery Gerasimov. RT News says key forces plan to kill Gerasimov during his visit to the front lines in Ukraine last April. RT News also cites a report that claimed the U.S. concealed the information about Gerasimov's planned visits from Zelensky. The report says Washington was concerned that an attack on a valuable Russian asset would provoke a direct military confrontation between Russian and American forces. But the Ukrainians learned about Gerasimov's trip. RT News says Kyiv shelled the positions where Gerasimov was thought to have been. However, the general was unaffected by the strike. Meanwhile, Russia has never officially confirmed that Gerasimov traveled to Ukraine in April. Russian Defense Ministry has stated Gerasimov only visited the front lines in early July.
News sources say UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is asking for an assessment of the progress of the conflict in Ukraine. One Whitehall source describes Sunak's approach as a Goldman Sachs dashboard. The source claims Sunak wants to examine the situation in Ukraine and how UK military supplies are used. Reports say senior officials fear the Prime Minister may be taking an overly cautious approach as the conflict between Russia and Ukraine enters a key phase. However, a Downing Street source dismisses the reports that Sunak is being overly cautious. The audit, known as a data-driven assessment, according to the informant, is designed to assess the progress of the war. It also analyzes the significance of UK's military contributions to Kyiv. A Downing Street source insists that Sunak is still committed to supporting Ukraine.
For the second month in a row, India remains Russia's top buyer of Urals crude oil. In November, India accounted for about 53%, or the highest level on record, of the total tanker shipments of Russian crude oil. Market participants say India's share may even exceed 70% of total loadings in December. Four market sources also confirm India is buying the Urals crude below $60 this month. Traders and Refinitiv data say India's share is expected to rise on a monthly basis. The increase in exports is despite a shorter loading plan for Russia's western ports.
TikTok says it will cut its Russian staff numbers. In a statement, TikTok says they will continue to evaluate the evolving circumstances in Russia to determine when they will fully resume services in Moscow. The video app insists that safety is its top priority. Earlier this year, TikTok stopped live streaming and new upload services for Russian users.
China reported Monday its first death from COVID-19 since loosening its hardline containment policy. Hospitals and crematoriums struggle with an outbreak authorities say is impossible to track. The country is pressing ahead with unwinding years of its zero-COVID policy. People in one megacity told they can now go to work even if they are visibly ill. Official case members are widely considered unreliable following the end of mandatory mass testing. Fears are mounting of a wave of infections in poor rural areas during the upcoming Lunar New Year holidays. Authorities reported Monday 2 deaths from the virus in Beijing, where fear of COVID has emptied streets and stripped pharmacies of medications. Millions of unvaccinated elderly Chinese remain vulnerable to the disease. Accounts from strained hospitals and crematoriums suggest the true toll of the outbreak has gone unreported.
North Korea fired 2 medium-range ballistic missiles Sunday. The move comes just days after Pyongyang announced a successful test of a solid fuel motor for a new weapon system. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff say the missiles flew about 500 kilometers before landing in the Sea of Japan. They strongly condemned Sunday's launch, calling it a clear violation of UN Security Council resolutions. North Korea has made developing solid fuel missiles a priority. They require less preparation time and are harder to detect before launch. They can also be fired from land or submarines.
A U.S. congressional committee meets today to vote on whether to recommend criminal charges against former U.S. President Donald Trump. The Select House of Representatives Committee has spent the last 18 months investigating the deadly attack at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. The committee has heard from more than 1,000 witnesses. Today, it will unveil its investigation into the riot by Trump supporters who falsely claimed the 2020 election was stolen from him by Joe Biden. At least 5 people died as a result of the riot, and 140 police officers were injured. About 900 people have been arrested and scores have been convicted. The committee will decide whether to seek charges against Trump on at least 3 counts. They include inciting an insurrection, obstruction of an official proceeding, and conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government. The charges could result in prison time for Trump and bar him from seeking public office. Lawmakers cannot authorize the charges. They can only make recommendations to the Justice Department. Up next, severe turbulence injures dozens on Hawaiian Airlines flight. Myanmar ferry blast injures 18 people. And EU considers lowering gas price cap. Mata ng Agila International will be back with more global news. Please stay tuned.
Nung amoy kimchi na hilaw.
Nakikipagkaibigan lang yung tao.
Kilala niyo ba yung may-ari nito?
Ako nga.
Naghahanap ako ng venue dahil meron akong pa-audition na gagawin.
Abangan sa Counterpoint.
It's a tough world. One day you're the star, next day you're not.
Attorney Sal Panelo at multi-talented actor Eric Quizon sa Counterpoint tuwing Miyerkules alas 10:30 ng gabi dito sa Net 25.
Tinitingnan kita ngayon, chinito ang tawag sa mga ganyan, maputi na singkit. Ay yung maitim na na singkit, anong tawag doon?
May segue ka sa joke, attorney.
Alam mo ba kung anong tawag doon?
Ano, attorney?
Prinito.
Authorities say at least 36 passengers are injured. 11 are seriously hurt after severe turbulence hit Hawaiian Airlines Flight 35. The airplane was carrying 278 passengers and 10 crew members. Reports say Hawaiian Airlines came from Phoenix and experienced severe turbulence shortly before landing in Hawaii at around 10:50 a.m. The airline says those taken to hospitals have injuries ranging from lacerations, bruising, loss of consciousness, and head injuries. Those with minor injuries were treated at the airport. Hawaiian Airlines says they are conducting a thorough investigation of their Airbus A330 before it returns to service. Local news sources confirm thunderstorms were reported in the area at the time of the turbulence.
Around a dozen people are injured in a ferry blast in Myanmar's commercial hub, Yangon. The blast hit a passenger ferry crossing the Yangon River to the Dala district around 7 p.m. local time. Images published by local media show blood and debris strewn across a wooden floor. Myanmar has been in turmoil since the military seized power in a coup last year. Anti-coup rebels clash with junta troops across the country. There are almost daily killings of low-level junta officials or anti-coup fighters. In October, at least 2 bombs exploded outside a prison in Yangon. It killed 8 people and wounded 18. And in July, a bomb blast near a shopping mall in Yangon killed 2 people and wounded 11.
Peruvian authorities are scrambling to evacuate thousands of tourists stranded as a result of a political crisis. Violent protests rocked the country since President Pedro Castillo was ousted earlier this month for trying to dissolve parliament. Most tourists are from the United States and Europe. Blocked roads hinder attempts to leave. Some tourists take a train to the airport, but they end up walking the last 2 kilometers because a huge boulder is blocking the tracks. The unrest claims at least 20 lives and leaves more than 500 people injured. Peru has declared a 30-day national emergency. Authorities claim the protests are diminishing in intensity, but the police remain on alert as violence continues.
Australia's top diplomat is set to visit China Tuesday, the first trip of the Australian foreign minister to the Asian country in 4 years, a sign of further thawing ties. 2018 was the last official visit of an Australian foreign minister to Beijing. Since then, once excellent relations have nosedived. Australia's Penny Wong will visit Beijing to mark the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the 2 countries. She will meet Chinese State Councillor and Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning says Beijing hopes the visit will strengthen dialogue, expand cooperation, and keep differences in check while pushing bilateral relations back on track. Ning adds that the 2 sides are set to further implement the important consensus reached by the 2 countries' leaders at their Bali summit. China is Australia's largest trading partner. Australia provides many of the ores, metals, and minerals that fuel China's spectacular economic growth.
News sources say EU member states are trying to break a deadlock in a divisive proposal to tame the effects of the energy crisis. The Czech Republic suggests lowering the ceiling to 188 euros per megawatt hour, down from the 275 euros proposed by the European Commission. Countries including Belgium, Greece, Italy, and Poland demand a limit below 200 euros per megawatt hour. The move is to stop high gas prices that have raised energy bills and inflation records. Yet Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands fear the cap could upset Europe's energy market. Instead, they demand a more cautious approach, such as automatic suspension of the cap if it has unintended negative consequences.
In Papua New Guinea, communities and leaders joined together to observe Human Rights Day. They're holding a 3-week campaign to promote safe home environments. In Port Moresby, Egor Taleza Quinola reports.
A 20-day human rights activism campaign at the Surgeon Guy Stadium is happening in Port Moresby in observance of Human Rights Day. The event is dubbed From Safe Home to a Safer Papua New Guinea, Unite with Peace and Human Rights. National Capital District City Manager Ravu Frank says that the National Capital District Governor, Honorable Poes Parkop, will use his power to vigilantly mitigate gender-based violence. 8 civil society organizations are awarded grants by the Secretary for the Department of Community Development and Religion, Jerry Obase. The award aims to support the advocacy of the gender-based violence and sorcery accusation-related violence in this country.
I do not want all forms of violence in the city. Enough is enough. We call for peace and respect for one another. We call for peace and respect for women and girls. We call for government to all lawbreakers and perpetrators of violence against women and children. Take back our city from all forms of violence. Violence destroys families, homes, workplaces, communities, streets, suburbs, entire city, and paint a bad image on the city and the country as a whole.
In related news, the Active City Development Program ends this year with an event highlighting dignity, freedom, and justice for all White December Walk. Citizens joined the activity to show alliance in promoting the human rights and entitlement.
Everyone needs a voice. They need someone to stand up for them. The Active City program is giving that platform. So the voices that have not been heard can be heard. So that marginalized people, so that those survivors of gender-based violence can have a space. And not only that, so that we create that active awareness that other people need to stand up for people that cannot be able to do that for themselves. And that's what I do. I'm a human rights defender. I'm a human rights activist. I stand up for the rights of others. And to be a part of this program is, for me, it's an honor, because I know that we have a platform that can be able to speak up for those who cannot be able to do so themselves.
Echo Hertaleza Quinola, Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, Matalang Agila International, trusted, connected, loyal.
After collapsing last week, the Thai king's eldest daughter remains in the hospital, receiving support for her heart, lungs, and kidneys. 44-year-old Princess Vajrakitibyaba Mahidol fell ill Wednesday evening during a military dog training session at Nakhon Ratchasima, north of Bangkok. After her sudden collapse, the princess was flown to Bangkok to receive intensive medical care under close observation. The Thai palace says medicine is managing the Royal Highness's heartbeat while she is unwell. The princess is a member of the royal family that sits at the apex of Thai society. People around the capital and across the kingdom lay well wishes for the princess's recovery.
The royal household says Norway's King Harald has suffered from an infection. He will remain in Oslo's University Hospital for a few days. The palace says he is now in a stable condition. The monarchy adds that intravenous antibiotics were used to treat the king's infection. He has recently suffered health problems, including COVID-19, knee surgery in 2021, respiratory problems, and another infection in August. King Harald is the grandson of Håkon VI and has ruled Norway since 1991. Coming right up, new satellite to monitor Earth's water resources. Elon Musk polls Twitter users on his future as CEO. And Love Anniver joins Net25. More of these stories when Matanong Agila International returns.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka na mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Ay lalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
We welcome you back with more global news here on Mata ng Agila International. There's a new eye in the sky as satellites survey the Earth's surface water. The Surface Water and Ocean Topography mission is a joint venture of NASA and the French Space Agency. From its vantage point of a low Earth orbit, the satellite will monitor virtually all water on the Earth's surface. The mission is expected to last 3 years. It will measure the height of both freshwater bodies and oceans on 90% of the planet's surface. Other observations will include coastal erosion and how fresh and salt water bodies change over time. With this data, scientists hope water management, flood and drought prevention can be improved.
Elon Musk puts his future as Twitter CEO in the hands of its users. In a Twitter poll, Musk asked users if he should step down as the head of Twitter. He vowed to abide by the poll results. The poll ended Monday, and out of more than 17 million votes, 57.5% voted yes and 42.5% voted no. The unpredictable billionaire posted the poll shortly after acknowledging he made a mistake banning users from promoting their accounts on rival social media platforms. Musk apologized to the users or the site's users and vowed to provide another poll for major policy changes to avoid repeating the mistake. The sudden changes in the rules ordered by the new Twitter boss were seen as controversial since he took over the company in October.
Argentina successfully bagged the World Cup title after defeating France in a 4-2 penalty shootout, marking the three-peat win for the team on Sunday. As both teams carry the soccer ball and run after the gold, Argentina captain Lionel Messi advanced the game by scoring 2 points ahead of the defending champion team France. The intense evening drama inside the field was ended by Argentinian substitute Gonzalo Montiel after striking home the ball and ensuring a win and an agonizing shootout loss for its opponent. With an outburst of joy, pride, and honor after bagging the 2022 World Cup title, Argentina players paraded on a double-decker bus through the streets of Doha. Proud fans celebrated Argentina's victory in the World Cup final as they gather near the Arc de Triomphe in Barcelona downtown, a city with a large Argentinian community, where football legend Lionel Messi spent most of his career. Argentine President Alberto Fernandez sent his congratulatory message to the team through a tweet saying they are champions of the world. Last week, Messi announced he would retire from the sport. But following the country's epic World Cup win, Messi surprised fans by saying he wants to keep experiencing a few more matches as a world champion.
Thousands of football fans took to the streets of Paris, Nice, and Lyon after France lost to Argentina 4-2 in the World Cup final. For some, it was a time to celebrate. Others wallowed in the agony of defeat. At the Champs-Élysées in Paris, the crowd launched fireworks and flares following the game. As the evening wore on, things turned violent. Some revelers threw rocks and bottles at police, who responded with tear gas and water cannons. According to local media, dozens of people have been arrested. The scene was similar in the French city of Lyon. Clashes broke out and people threw projectiles at police. The crowd was cleared with the aid of tear gas and water cannons. About 15 people were arrested. Meanwhile, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, the celebrations continued into the night. Tens of thousands of fans gathered in the streets. Fireworks cracked, car horns sounded, and people danced in the streets waving flags. The party atmosphere provided an escape for Argentinians. They have been suffering years of economic turmoil and spiraling inflation.
FIFA rejects Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's request to share a message of world peace during the World Cup final. A media source says Zelensky got surprised when FIFA denied his request. The source also claims that Zelensky's office said they thought FIFA wanted to use its platform for the greater good. Other reports say FIFA has gone to great lengths to avoid any political statements at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar.
A rally erupts outside Tehran's embassy in Madrid. The protesters are relatives and friends of a Spanish football fan arrested in Iran. They demand his release. At the time of the arrest, the man was on his way to the World Cup. Back in January, Santiago Sanchez left his hometown near Madrid. He was to walk to Qatar in time for the World Cup. In early October, he was passing through Iran when he was apprehended. His offense, he took a photo of the grave of Mahsa Amini. Amini was the 22-year-old woman who died after being arrested by Iran's morality police. Her death was has sparked months of protest nationwide or worldwide. Sanchez's mother says she was recently allowed to speak with her son, saying he is in good health. She says her son is not a political activist and intended no harm to Iran's state security.
Love Anyover joins Net25. She will host a show called Love in Everything. Here's Nadine Aguilar for the details.
Love Anyover officially signs a contract to join the growing family of Net25. Also present in the contract signing were Ms. Wilma Galvante, creative consultant of the network, and Net25 president, Mr. Cesar Vallejos. The network is excited to have the veteran broadcast journalist as its talent.
Ang layunin ng Net25, we don't just entertain. We also make sure that we inform and we educate our viewership. Medyo mataas ang kalidad ng Net25 sa pagpili ng mga programa. Hindi lang tayo tumitingin sa ratings, kundi tumitingin talaga tayo sa values na nai-offer ng mga program.
Love would continue what she started with her new home, Net25.
I think that's it. Parang kagaya ng Agila, I think I will be able to fly high and freely sa mga oportunidad na meron kayong nakalaan for me. And for that, ngayon pa lang nagpapasalamat na.
Love said she's thankful and grateful to Net25 management for the trust given to her by the network.
I'm overwhelmed with so much joy and gratitude for this opportunity. I'm so happy and thank you. Tony Pet, special mention. I love you, my friend. Thank you so much for being the bridge. Siya talaga yung naging tulay para magkaroon ng katuparan tong panibagong blessing para sa akin. So I'm grateful and happy.
Watch out for Love's Love and Everything on Net25. This afternoon, Love joins other Net25 artists at Hoops Dome, Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu for the next leg of Let's Net Together event. Aga Mulak, Empoy Marquez, and the Quezon brothers, Eric, Epi, and Vandal also grace the event. Other Net25 talents are also present. Pia Guanyo Mago, Ariel Roses, and Jenny Quezon, as well as Tony Pet Gaba, Alexa Miro, Yuki Takahashi, Diana Menezes, Yo Andrada, Anthony Ocampo, and the Philippines' favorite trio, Tito, Vic, and Joey. Fourth Impact would also show their world-class performance. Nadine Aguilar, reporting for Batanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Net 25's public service program Responde, Mata ng Mamamayan, and its host Alex Santos have bagged more awards. The program was recognized in the third Bagong Bagani Awards. Alex Santos earned the Bagong Bagani Awardee for journalism. Responde was recognized as the Kalasag ng Bagong Bagani. The recognition given to the program is the highest award given by the body to various sectors of society. The body also recognized Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte, Senator Robin Padilla, and Vice President Sara Duterte for their exemplary leadership. In another award ceremony, Responde received the Medallion of Excellence from the International Trades Associates. The program is recognized for initiating modern ways of bayanihan or heroism in the country. Congratulations, you guys.
Congratulations, Responde and Alex Santos. The long-awaited sequel to James Cameron's 2009 blockbuster Avatar: The Way of Water topped the competition at North American theaters, earning $134 million at the domestic box office. The huge figure is roughly...
That's all they see.
So it's a date this weekend?
It is a date this weekend.
It's just a Monday, but for the weekend, we have a date. And now to help you start this week, here's a quote from George Bernard Shaw, an Irish playwright. Success does not consist in never making mistakes, but in never making the same one a second time. You know, there's this line that I love so much, innovate or perish. If you keep making the same mistakes over and over and over, it makes you a fool, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's in the learning. It's in the, rising above what... It's in the overcoming of your struggles, of your past failures. If you're able to rise above that, then in a way, that's success.
I think the key word there is learning. You have to learn.
You have to keep learning.
And that's a wrap for tonight's news. Catch the latest updates on our social media channels. I am CJ Hero.
And I am Nina Richie Yalago Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.